Hello, everyone. My name is David. I like to come on to YouTube and talk to you every now and then about the way I see things, the way I feel, the way I experience stuff. Sometimes I let my emotions and things speak, and I guess that's okay. But a lot of times I do this more like having a journal, some way to put my emotions and things out there. You see, I have to fight with everything in me, this little sanity going on. You see those people sometimes that tend to laugh at every little thing that goes on in life, or those that cry. I do that all the time. Now, I'm not a well-mentor. There's times that I'm having difficulty just trying to figure things out sometimes. And sometimes I just don't care. After all, I'm getting up there in age, and the way things are, I know that my time is about to be over. So it could be tomorrow, it could be a week from now, it could be a year, 2 or 3 years, could be another 30 years. I don't know, but does it really matter? And one time in my rainbow wisdom, I said that there are three things, only three things a person has to do. And one is they have to eat, because you have to consume something in order to have energy to grow, to do anything. Even to cry, you gotta have some type of energy. And if you ever get that energy, well then you're gonna do the latter. But the second part, sleep. Your body has to rejuvenate itself each and every day. Within 24 hours, you need to lay down and rest. That's just a given. If you don't rest and you don't eat, it's going to take you to the third thing that you have to do, and that is die. Well, that is my phone going off there that you hear in the background. And if you hear this other little thing going on, because I like to listen to music sometimes when I'm talking to you. It kind of relaxes me. I've noticed something about this. Everything seems to be backwards. This is my left hand, and this is my right. Sometimes I'm reaching over here, and when I'm viewing it, it looks like I'm reaching with my right. No, I'm not. It's all with my left hand. Okay. Ain't something about technology. Well, that's what I want to come to you and talk about. I once said that there is a number for everything that happens, no matter what. You buy a new car and it starts depreciating from the moment you pick up the keys. Regardless you drive off the lot or not, it has depreciated because that car has now had an owner. It doesn't matter that you didn't drive it, it is depreciated. It may have been a few $100 by the time you go back here, give the keys back and not even drive it off the lot, but that's the cost of something new that's no longer new. It's been pre-owned. No car lot like to say a new car was pre-owned, but nobody drove it. Nobody's gonna believe them anyway. So that's the appreciation. But everything has a number. From the moment it starts, there is a curvature that happens. Things will escalate and kind of go to a peak, may even go down and back up, back down and back up over and over. And in doing so, that is part of the life and the number of it. The earth has a number. The sun has a number. You have a number. No matter what it is, there is a number. And when the end comes, it's going to happen. You can't stop it. The three things you have to do. And the third one is die. That's just going to happen. And that's the way I feel sometimes. That I just, it doesn't matter. Now, I'm living in America. Here we take, but who's going to rule over us? But the truth of the matter is, those that are thousands of miles away, setting up laws and regulations, has nothing to do with my ability to go out and to find something to eat. Because that's one thing you gotta do. You have to eat. Nor does it affect my ability to find some place to lay my head down and go to sleep. We have our desires and dreams. We think about all the great foods that we could possibly eat. Of course, in many nations, there isn't no choice about what foods they have to eat. They're limited. In most nations today, if we in America had to go to live there, we would probably starve ourselves to death because the things other nations probably eat would gross us out. Ooh, I'm not going to eat that. No, I wouldn't do that. Yeah, you would. You have no other choice. You would, because you have to eat. It's like laying down and going to sleep. Ooh, that's a grimy, dirty, musty, smelly place. How can you sleep there? Because that's one of the things you have to do. You have to sleep. And the third thing is die. I've been getting all these things saying I need to take out funeral expenses so that my funeral can be paid for. Let me tell you, when I die, I don't care what happens to my body. It's going to be just there. You can do whatever you want to. Stick electrical probes and make my hands dance around while I'm dead. Electrical energy to a nerve ending will cause it to dance, just like frogs. You stick electrical energy to muscle, you can cause that frog to jump many times with that leg, even after it's been severed and taken away from the frog. It can happen to you the same way. So, what happens to my dead body? I don't care. I don't feel it. You ever get into a traffic jam and you're wondering what's going on because your curiosity peaks and you think, well, is there a bad accident up there? Did somebody die? And you say, oh Lord, I'm glad it wasn't me. But yet, you slow down and you're rubbing. You look to see what if you could see anything. We all like to see blood and gore, even though we say, ew, no, that's not me. But yet we do. There used to be a bunch of videos out a long time ago called Faces of Death. And we could see all these people dying in different scenarios. Some getting murdered, some being hung, some of them through accidents, beheading and things like that. But no matter how it was, it came out a little bit popular because people like gore. They like to see it. They might not like to say they do, but if they do, I'm gonna move my camera and watch how easy this is. Yeah, I put this a little bit more over towards the sunny side so that I'm looking at the light. And I don't like that. Let me move it back towards the center because I don't like looking at that light. It kind of blinds me a little bit. Now, I'm coming to you, talking to you. I'm just talk because it's therapeutic for me. We all need to have this release. I told a bunch of people a long time ago that well, one of my first things that I like to do when I get angry and I need to get release is call a company up or a corporation up and just blast that operator with all types of superlatives and this and that and all like that. And knowing that it was my release. Well, I'm using YouTube for that. Many people don't do that anymore, but they like to get popularity, how many likes and all of this. I'm not going to ask you to subscribe because I don't play that game. See, this is my big addiction. I smoke. I don't smoke regular cigarettes. I smoke cigars, and I kind of make an excuse for it, but smoking is smoking. No matter how you look at it, there is good and bad in everything that we do. But this is my hard vice that I do. But everything's an addiction, especially with popularity throughout the internet. People like to feel popular. And the only reason why is, and they say, well, I can make money off of it. I can do this, make money. But some of these women and men out there are trying to go on personal trade and stuff like that. They're finding out that's not a very good thing to do. And lots of people get addicted to the popularity so much till they find other ways to get more and more. But famous people, especially ones in movies and music and fine art, they like that popularity. I take pictures, and one time or another, my photographs got recognized through a couple magazines here and there, and some of the world's great photographers out there recognized my photographs, and that made me feel good. But I realized that I was getting an adrenaline junkie there. I wanted it more, but it's a habit, just like anything else. Once you start feeling it, it becomes an addiction to you. You gotta have it. If you don't have it, then when you don't have it, it becomes a depression to you. As they say, when somebody's on cocaine or heroin or something like that, if there's a rush of endorphins that's going through your brain, and you like that release, and so you go for it more and more. The more you get, the more you want it. It's sort of like a rabbit or a rat go and stand on a plate and it gets shocked. But every time it got shocked, it got fed soup pellets. It kept going back and getting shocked, back and getting shocked. But every time it got a reward, soup pellets. It kept going back and back, getting shocked over and over and over. More it got shocked, more food it got. Well, in the study that I read about, they started reducing the amount of food that was being released to the rat. But the rat kept going back over and over and over, even as the food kept decreasing. And at one point, the food quit coming, but yet the rat would go on getting shot. Why? Because the rat got used to being shot more than it did enjoying the food. And so it would kept on doing this over and over, no matter how much it enjoyed being shot until it killed itself. So it just stayed on there and it liked that feeling. And that's the way we are with our adrenaline. We like that rush. Lots of people need to find other ways to get the rush, but we all like it. It is a great thing. It's like sugar to our body. We got to have more and more of it. But it too will kill us. When we die, what happens to us? The dead does not reveal its secrets to us. So we don't know what happens after death. We like to have faith about different things in different ways. And we like to say that this is going to happen after death and that's going to happen after death. Truth of the matter, we don't know what happens after death. Only those that are dead knows what happens after death. We can speculate. We can come with up to all the conclusions that we want to, but we don't know what happens after death. But does that mean I don't believe in some type of higher power? No, for that is to deny the reality of Murphy's Law. Murphy's Law is based in Occam's Razor, which basically the simplest answer, the simplest thing is usually correct. And the simplest thing is there is always something bigger and better and more intelligent than we are. That's the truth of the matter. If we were all equal, there would be no starving children in different countries and things like that. There would be no child abuse anywhere. We would all be equal, but not all things are equal. There is differences in it. I have a few medical problems that I have to deal with because of my old age, but we're all different. The way I have to deal with mine is different compared to other people. There's a friend of mine, a young lady. Well, she's older than I am, but I still call her a young lady out of respect for who she is. And she has her problems. I have my problems. Her problems, she says, they're woman's problems. Well, men have men problems too, because I look at trying to even things out. And when I started thinking about it, maybe men don't have problems. But yes, they do. They have problems just like women. I mean, might not experience them in the same way as a woman's problems are, but nonetheless, men have problems too. Because again, not all things are equal. It gives me to think of transgender and all this other stuff going on with the LGBTQ and all like that. There's XX to make one uh, um, the species of human, XY to make another one. And if all things were equal, then some of those that were supposed to be just XX and they threw a little Y in it every now and then, not all the time, but just enough, it would make that one XX react more towards the XY sometimes. Same thing. XY is supposed to be the norm for this person, and they threw in a little bit more X's than Y, it would act more towards this direction. And that goes to the sum, not all things are equal. There is no equal. You say 1 and 1 is 2. That's equal. That is assumption on our part. There is no such thing as 1 and 1 in the world, because not all things are equal. And it comes back to the part of there's a number for everything. I'm sure when Coca-Cola came out with this Coke, and it started pushing out to all the world, it did not realize there was a point where Coke itself would need to be diminished or diversified so that, what was that? Oh, left one about it. That would be diversified to where they had to have other products to keep the royalties coming in that the Coca-Cola Corporation was used to. Same thing with Pepsi. If you don't think it's so, then why do they have commercials? And everybody has their preference, but not all things are equal and everything has a number. There's not always going to be everyone agreeing that this is the way things should be run. When there's others out there that like to say, no, this is it. Because we're all intelligent human beings. And being intelligent, we can come up with our own conclusion about how things should go. And again, that's a number. There is a number, a curvature of things. At one point, there's going to be so much mixing of blood till there is not going to be any more uh, this color or that color or whatever. There's going to be a mixing. And in that mixing, you will see what I'm calling the golden people. After all, we all like gold. And eventually that's what we're going to come. Give you a fair warning about this. You can see this throughout the South Pacific, throughout the Pacific itself, through all those island nations through there. There was a mixing of so much blood for so long, and there was no discrimination about it. There was big people, little people, fair-skinned people, dark-skinned people. They mixed so much regular, and there was no discrimination about what happened till they considered them the golden people because they're all about the same shade of color and skin. Everybody's going to become back. All things are equal. Have you ever known two people that are dark skinned or light skinned that are the same pigment or color of skin? No, you don't. They're all different. The only given is that men like to feel like they're in control. Women like to feel like they're in control. But you know there are some that's not a man nor a woman. That's a mix of both. That like to think they're in control. They don't like to be left out. So they pick their battle and stuff. It's a number of people. You know, at one time, human beings, there was not male or female. There was just asexual. Yes, they didn't need a male or female in order to reproduce. They themselves were born and grew up with the ability to reproduce without any other others around. It had to be like that because the next one around might have been thousands of miles away to where they could not get together and reproduce like that. So they had to be asexual. That's a given. I mean, but the better part of a biological of a species is the makeup of that procreation is less energy if there is male and female than there is asexual, which means that the male part can live longer, the female part can live longer. They can live longer, they can produce more. And that's the way it went. You know, there's still some that are born asexual. There goes that XX and XY. That's why not all are equal. We're not getting to that. We won't never get to that. The Earth will pass. We will die out as a species before we ever get to where we're all equal. Very simple. All part of Murphy's Law and Hawkins' razor. The simplest answer is usually the correct one. If there's something bigger, brighter than I am, yes. For me to think otherwise is just wrong. There's a lot of physicists out there, theoretical and practical physicists out there looking at different uh, areas of mathematics and configurations and everything, trying to figure out the origin of everything. They want to know the answer to everything. Well, the moment you answer that question about everything, you know you won't never be here no more. You don't need to know it. So are you really wanting to get to the point to where you understand quantum mechanics? And then again, there's so many out there scientific world that says, well, they don't have a belief in a faith-based type of thing. They gotta have an all factual. Well, and that becomes them believing that there is something bigger and better out there. And they're looking for it. My first delving into the scientific world was when I started thinking about space itself and looking out into the moon and stars and all of that. And even though I could connect the dots and make this clump of stars, or we planets and stars we call them, look like this, or take that one look like this, or whatever. It just reminded me of a coloring book, connect the dots. You know, you connect the dots, and after it's done, you colored it in to where you didn't see the dots no more, but you knew it was there. Well, that's what you're doing with the stars. You're connecting the dots. But there's something out there that is bigger and greater than all that. And that bigger and greater stuff that's out there is the darkness itself. You can come up with all your quantum physics and theories and all like that. But I ask, if you got all that darkness that's out there, to where even black holes are swallowed by that darkness, yeah, they are, because after all, a black hole or dark negative gravity where a planet is collapsed on itself, it's there. Not even light can escape. But I want to ask you, does it make a sound? That's just a question I want to ask. Does it make a sound just because we can't hear it doesn't mean it doesn't make a sound? Let me like this one more time. questions and everything that needs to be answered. So all these physicists and scientists out there talking about this and that. Don't you know that once you answer the question, there are 1,000 more questions that will pop up? So I always say, it's not the questions you know to ask, the hundreds of thousands that you know to ask. It's the billions or trillions of questions you don't even know to ask. Yet there is a number for everything. There's only three things you gotta do. All this other stuff you do is feeding that adrenaline rush you get from your mind when you feel right, to get something right. It's all addiction to some level or another, but it is an addiction. Just know that that's all it is. In reality, what's happening hundreds or thousands of miles away from me, it's going to make any difference to the food that I need to eat to keep myself going, or the rest that I need to go to sleep. And no matter what, the ladder's coming. I will die one day. And that is definite. Some people just give up and they commit suicide. Ain't no need doing that. You're just rushing stuff that's going to happen anyway. So why rush it? It's going to happen. Enjoy what you have. Don't worry what this person or that person, this game or that game is doing. I know it's very selfish, but think about what you're going to do for yourself. And you say, well, I need to provide for my wife and my family and all like that. It's good that you feel that. But if you haven't got the food and the rest you need, then you cannot provide any extra for them. A person one time asked me, and they said, well, you got all these small businesses going on throughout different worlds. Why don't they provide jobs for everybody? Well, when you provide a job for somebody else or work for them, you're providing for that family too. And if you can't provide for that family, your own family, and get it going, sustain, then you can't provide for somebody else's family. And that's what hiring somebody else to do a job for is to do that. Well, make them work on commission. If they don't do the job, they don't get it. It doesn't work that way. Even though they try to make it come out like that, you just got a lot of people coming and going all the time. Time to put this out. Time to end all this. I don't like to be on. Sometimes you need to take a step back and see the bigger picture. And the big picture is that what's really in front of you, not what somebody's saying on the gossip channel, not what somebody wants you to feel and think. It's that at the moment. At this moment, you need to feed yourself. At this moment, you may need to lay down and go to sleep. And if at this moment you're about to give up your life here, know what happens to your body afterwards. Does it really matter? When a caterpillar takes and weaves that cocoon, and in the cocoon it breaks free and becomes a butterfly to fly off. Does the butterfly or the caterpillar caterpillar, think about what happens to the cocoon. Um, so why do you think about it? Why do you worry about things you can't control or change? Y'all have a nice day. Y'all enjoy your life. You hear it, and let's end it now. Y'all be good. Bye bye.